All right, once I know it's recording. Hello, this is Doug Hansen. I'm doing my introduction portion of the speech for the group project, part A. I'm just showing you my audience, my mother and my father, just so you know that they are live and paying attention and cheering me on from Cincinnati. So, get them all set up, get me back in position. All right. All right, so this is the Group A project, the speech with the problem and solution. So this is for Group A, and Doug Hansen, I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to hit cut, and then I will come back and I will also do the conclusion. So I'm going to do the introduction. Rochelle is going to do the models of addiction. Cameron is going to do the nature versus nurture argument. Peyton will be talking about the glamorization of drug and alcohol use in society, mainly in film and television and music. And then Eugene is going to talk about co-occurring disorders or dual diagnosis disorders. And then Mackenzie is going to come up here and talk about some resources available out there for people who are seeking treatment or looking for some recovery help from drugs and alcohol. And then again, I'll come back and tie it up with a nice little conclusion. So, with the introduction, our problem solution statement, we as a group came up with: the lack of education has caused a misunderstanding about addiction, which prevents those in need from seeking help. So we really wanted to focus on some of the miseducation, some of the misunderstanding surrounding drug and alcohol. So the other members in the group are going to go in depth on some of those topics a little bit. But first I want to talk about, what is addiction? And according to this definition I found, addiction is a treatable chronic medical condition. So looking at it from a disease, medicine, pathological point of view, with complex interactions among brain circuits. We talk a lot about neurotransmitters and brain chemistry when we talk about addiction. It also involves genetics, the things that you are passed down to from your parents, grandparents. Talk a lot about the environment that a person grows up in. There's the, and that's what one of our team members will cover in the nature versus nurture argument, is the environment. We talk about the genetic predisposition, but I also think there's a geographical predisposition of sorts. The zip code you grow up in, the schools you go to, the opportunities that you have in the neighborhoods that you come up in. And also an individual's personal life experiences. People that engage in risky behavior at a young age, people that experience trauma, abuse, neglect, may be more susceptible to turn to drugs and alcohol as a maladjusted coping tool, if you will. So we're going to talk about this. Again, addiction is recognized as a phenomenon with very deep evolutionary roots. If you look into some science and some medicine, you will find that they have done studies on different animals and looking at the pleasure reward pathway and finding out that animals will seek pleasure and reward over such basic things as food or sex. Again, we're talking about very biological components here, things as basic as motivation, so the different parts of the brain that are hit. Addiction can come in different areas. We're going to focus on drug and alcohol, but you can also find addictions to food, to sex, to gambling, to working, to just about anything, because it has to deal with how the brain rewards itself and how those neuropathways and those neurotransmitters start firing when different stimuli are added to the person's life. Talk about some of the negative consequences, and people will continue to use through those negative consequences, be it legal or health or financial. And for normal people, this stuff doesn't make sense. And that's the part of the addict brain that we say is wired differently, if you will. So some of the other group members will touch on that in their portions of the speech as well. This is one of my favorite quotes coming from one of the Alcoholics Anonymous books, The 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. It says that it's a statistical fact that alcoholics almost never recover on their own resources. And this has been true apparently ever since man first crushed grapes. So this, which was written back in 1935, 1939, it still holds true today, and it goes back to the beginning of time when people found themselves addicted to all sorts of different things. But the Alcoholics Anonymous pathway, the method that they find to getting sober. Doctors and scientists find that there is a very important element in that spiritual component, which I think one of the other members will touch on a little bit later. So I appreciate you listening to me. This has been the introduction, and Rochelle should be up next with her portion. We'll cut this.